So the tools that I used a bail making pliers, and I'm going to be using the 2.6 millimeter side, which is the smaller side, and then a pair of parallel pliers. I really like these because they open like up and down. You can see like compared to the bail pliers that they open like a V. These guys open up and down, which it'll be really handy. You'll see in a minute. A pair of wire cutters and a pair of flat nose pliers. And these, the end part is about 3.7 millimeters, and that's important because that is going to be the guide for the that part that gets wrapped, which you'll see in a second. And then 6 inches of 20 gauge wire, and make sure that it's soft, because if it's not soft, then it's going to be really hard to bend. So what I do is I take my wire and I put it into the hole like this. And, you know, I let about an inch stick out. Let me measure just to make sure that I have an inch right there. Okay, so that's about an inch. And make sure your wire is straight. That always is very helpful. So let me do that real quick. Just as straight as you can get it. Let's get this back in here and measure 1 inch. So what you want to do is we are going to bend this wire towards the middle like that, and then hold it as, you know, the best as you can, and then bend the other one to where it overlaps. So you want the long one on top. And just make sure when you bend it back, when you wiggle it, this can move. Otherwise, sometimes it can get stuck and it looks kind of funky. So then what I do is, like right where it's like it crisscrosses, I get a Sharpie and I just put like a little tiny dot, because when I come back to bend that that long wire, that little mark comes in really handy. So then you take these guys, and then you put the end. It's kind of tricky. Let me see if I can get this. Okay, you hold that, and then you put the end part. You line it up with where that dot is, and don't bend this one. What you want to do is bend that one. See how I bent the bottom part right here? And then you take these out, and then you do the same thing to this side. So you try to get that right in there. Right in there. Let's kind of wiggle it in, line it up, and then bend that side out. And it's going to kind of sort of look like a flask. See that? And then the next thing we're going to do, let me just squeeze that. And that's where these come in handy. And the width is like important, because now we're going to put this right up here. We're going to just line it up as straight as we can, and then bend the long wire back, like away from you. Just bend it like nice and like, try to get like a roll, like tight, like angle in there. And then you take these out, and then we're going to take the bail making pliers, and with the small side up, you just put those in there. Just see that? Now this goes right in here. Then you just hold it nice and firm. And now what you do is you take this wire and you're going to bend it towards you. I guess the important thing is to make sure it's nice and straight. So you're just going to bend it, get it nice and tight around the mandrel. And since we need to move this wire all the way back, and this is blocking, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend this up like that, and then I'm going to take this wire and then continue to like wrap it around the mandrel as snug as I can. Sometimes you just need to get your fingers in there to really squish it in. Okay, so now I'm going to take these out. And one thing that is just a teeny weeny tweak, but it's something that I like to do. You can see how it looks like a person and their head is kind of like tilted back. So what we need to do is kind of like get that like tilted um, like forward a little bit. So what I do is I like to kind of like see if I can get a grip on it and kind of, let me see if I can get that in there and kind of like see how I kind of twisted it back towards straight. And when you do that, this part will stick up. But then what you do is you take, because you don't want to mess up the that loop that you made. So you put these, let me put them in this way, just like this. And you just want to get a really good grip on them. And then just gently like straighten this wire out. So it's at a nice angle, 90-degree angle. And so now the next step is I'm going to hold these because I want these two wires, these two sides to like see how it's not exactly lined up, but you want to line them up the best that you can. Usually just holding it like this, just pinching them together, just holding it like that. You just hold it, and now you're going to take your parallel pliers, and like I said, they go up and down, so it allows you to get a really nice grip. And you might want to like slightly angle it out because we need some space in there. So when we start to wire up, the pliers aren't exactly like in the way. So now we're gonna like close down, and now I've got a really good grip on this side. So now I'm gonna start wrapping that wire. And your brain has to think, hold this and snug at all times. And then you just start wrapping. And I like to use my finger just to like really get it like in there, because otherwise that first loop gets kind of like big and it doesn't like line up right. So there's the first one. And then you just keep going. Let's get that. Sometimes you just, and that's a nice thing with the soft wire. It bends easily. So you just kind of like look at it and just keep wrapping it. Kind of keep going. I think maybe the challenging part is just remembering on with your right hand to keep it like nice and like tight while you wrap. And I'm just going to keep going. And the reason I like to use my fingers, I've seen where some people, they just go like this, but I don't know, that just does not work for me. Maybe they're using like a thinner gauge or something, but I just find that this, and you know, every once in a while you might need to like straighten the wire up because you want to do like an Etch-a-Sketch where everything's just like stick straight. And then I think that's enough. And I usually stop where you can see this wire here, and then this wire is coming out on that side. So now all we have to do is like trim them. So I'm going to come in here with as close as I can, get this right in here, and then hold this because this thing will fly. And then this other one, I'm going to cut it at an angle. Let me just get this right in there. I'm kind of like pushing it in. I'm going to hold it so it doesn't like get me in the eye. And then this wire here, if you need to like squish it in a little bit, then you just take your pliers and kind of like maybe, I don't know, sometimes it's like really tricky to get that one wire, like, I don't know, I think I just made it worse. But I think that looks good. And then the last thing we need to do, because we need the that loop to be forward facing. So we need to like give it like a half a twist, but you want to do it where you're like twisting it more, not less. So if you look at it, you'll have to twist. Let me see if I can zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay, see that? If I twist it the other way, it's going to untwist, but if you twist it this way, you just like get your pliers here and you just hold this and then just give it like a twist and then it's forward facing. And that is it. Whoops. So now it's ready to turn into a pendant. And if you need to like tweak it a little bit, then, you know, but that is how I do this.